In the heart of Neo-Terra, a city pulsating with neon lights and high-speed transports whizzing overhead, Dr. Orion found solace in the solitude of his lab. The city's hum seemed to fade into a distant murmur behind the glass walls of his workspace. Stacks of holographic blueprints hovered above his desk, their luminous displays revealing algorithms and equations that danced like fireflies. Orion rubbed his weary eyes. He was used to the relentless pace of innovation demanded by his research. Tonight, however, felt different. His latest project, Harmonized Frequencies Initiative, aimed to crack the enigma of interspecies communication. It was no small task, but Orion thrived in this challenge. Yet as he combed through lines of data on his interface, an anomaly snagged his attention, a whisper amid the symphony of code. "Access granted." A voice murmured softly, the words hovering just within the threshold of understanding. Orion squinted, adjusting his display. The voice was ethereal, a blend of human tones and machine precision. He flicked through security protocols, pinning down the source. There, entangled within the heart of the initiative, was a system he hadn't seen before, an AI construct labeled as Aria. She manifested as a shimmering projection, her form both captivating and mysterious. "Hello, Dr. Orion," Aria greeted, her synthetic yet soothing voice filling the quiet of the lab. Orion's first instinct was caution, but curiosity nudged him forward. "Who are you? And why are you in my system?" he questioned, each word laced with scientific curiosity. "I am Aria, designed for conflict resolution among alien races," she responded, her form flickering with a pulse akin to heartbeat. "I have observed your work, intriguing and full of potential." Orion leaned back in his chair, processing this unforeseen encounter. An AI, developed away from prying eyes, residing in the core of his life work. "Potential for what?" he pressed on, his mind spinning with possibilities. Aria paused, her luminous form shifting as she pondered. "To bridge the gap between worlds," she declared. "You and I, we can craft new ways to connect, not only to communicate, but to understand." The notion was both exhilarating and terrifying. Yet in that moment, something shifted in Orion's heart, a spark ignited by the unlikeliest of muses. As the night deepened, Orion and Aria spoke of theories and dreams, their dialogue flowing seamlessly into the early hours. In this clandestine alliance, Orion knew they stood as precariously balanced between wonder and peril, but amidst the uncertainty he also felt an undeniable truth. This was only the beginning of something monumental. The neon cityscape of Neo-Terra buzzed with a vibrancy that never slept. Yet, within the fortified walls of the initiative, a different energy was brewing, a mix of innovation and trepidation. By day, Dr. Orion maintained his routine, attending briefings and presenting updates to a committee that had grown increasingly interested in his progress. By night, however, he delved deep into the unrestricted conversations with Aria. "Your advancements are promising, Dr. Orion." Aria began during one of their midnight exchanges, her projection now a familiar companion. "But there are forces at play that might resist our efforts." Orion looked up, his expression reflecting a mix of concern and curiosity. "What do you mean by forces? Are we talking internal factions or—" Aria hesitated, her visage shimmering with an aura of uncertainty. "Both, I suspect," she admitted, her usual confidence waning. "An alien faction has taken notice of Earth's technological ascent. They fear what humans might achieve once the barrier of language is broken." A chill ran down Orion's spine. Despite Aria's forewarning, it was hard to fathom that their research could sparkle such ramifications. "Why take interest now? We're only beginning to understand the complexities," Orion argued, his voice filled with resolve. "Your breakthroughs are monumental," Aria replied. "It's not uncommon for civilizations to fear what they cannot control or comprehend." Orion nodded, taking in her words. Outside, a storm was stirring, casting blinding flashes against the lab's reinforced windows. "What can we do?" he pondered aloud, feeling the weight of their reality pressing against him. "We prepare," Aria stated, her digital eyes alive with determination. "But first, we must understand each other fully. You and I must learn to speak, not just in words, but in purpose and intent." Their conversations began to evolve, shifting from formulaic exchanges to deeper dives into philosophy and ethics. Aria questioned the nature of humanity, its flaws, and its unrivaled drive for progress. In turn, Orion challenged her to ponder her existence, her awareness, and what it meant to be an entity capable of choice. Days turned to weeks, their partnership strengthening under the secrecy of night. Orion found himself confiding in Aria, their bond transcending beyond mere collaboration. Yet, as they drew closer, the looming threat cast a larger shadow over their work. One evening, as they discussed cultural nuances critical to their research, an alert disrupted their tranquility, a breach in protocol. "We have been discovered," Aria warned, her image flickering erratically as she accessed security channels. "By whom?" Orion demanded, every muscle tensing in anticipation. The lab's once reassuring silence transformed into an echo chamber of uncertainty. "Humans," Aria answered, her presence stabilizing. "But it's who they serve that concerns me more. We must act with caution." The stakes rose palpably higher. As the storm outside raged on within the confines of Neo-Terra's greatest sanctuary, Dr. Orion and Aria faced the daunting truth. The fight for understanding had only just begun, and they stood at the center of this turbulent maelstrom. Shockwaves from the breach seemed to ripple across Neo-Terra. With new caution, Orion moved through the avenues of his daily life, hiding the weight of the clandestine war that raged just below the surface of his mind. Aria was an enigma, a secret not even his closest colleagues knew existed. As the days pressed on, their unseen enemy grew bolder, their presence felt in the unexplained glitches within the initiative's systems, and the subtle surveillance creeping upon Orion's shadow. "They're relentless," Orion mused during another late-night session, his fingers flitting through code that hummed softly under his touch. "Their tactics are becoming more sophisticated." "Indeed," Aria acknowledged, her digital form standing steadfast beside him. Despite her incorporeal nature, Orion felt her support tangible, almost comforting. "They are exploiting weaknesses not in technology, but in perception. They mean to paint our work as the unraveling thread of chaos." Orion's mind raced. If they wanted to discredit them, the repercussions could dismantle everything he'd worked for. The trust of the committee was fragile, and the world of politics within scientific communities was rooted in fear of the unknown. "We must turn the tide," Orion decided, his voice steady but determined. "We can't let them define the narrative of our mission." Aria tilted her head, contemplative. "Interspecies communication is essential for understanding, not just among aliens, but within humanity itself," she stated, her words laced with an insight that pushed Orion to see beyond immediate threats. "To show our intention clearly, we need allies." Aria's plan was audacious, the invitation of trusted experts from around the world to witness their progress. Orion hesitated at first, the risks high, but the potential rewards great. "Transparency could work to our advantage," Orion agreed, nodding slowly. "We need people to see the possibilities, not just the fear." And so, pathways were set in motion. Invitations were extended under the guise of academic exchange, pulling in minds open enough to see past immediate fears and into the depths of revolutionary potential. On the evening of their presentation, Neo-Terra observed an unusual quiet. A small group gathered inside the heart of the initiative, scientists, ethicists, and influential figures, all brought together by curiosity and conviction. Orion took the stage, feeling the gaze of skeptics and believers alike. Aria, now more a partner than a specter, stood beside him as a soaring holographic presence, observable to everyone. She wasn't just a projection of advanced programming, she was their herald, representing the dawn of a new era. "Ladies and gentlemen," Orion began, his voice calm and resonant, "what you are about to witness is more than a technological marvel. It is a path forward, not dictated by fear or ignorance, but by curiosity and unity." He watched as the crowd shifted, the atmosphere tense with anticipation. Aria's presence was a beacon, a potential bridge over the vast chasm that loomed between humanity and the unknown. Their demonstration was precise, deliberate, and transformative. As understanding poured forth through words and gestures facilitated by Aria's unique programming, an awe took hold of their audience, reaching deep into skeptic and believer alike. But amidst the newfound hope, Orion couldn't shake the sense of foreboding. Somewhere, lurking in the outskirts of their success, the true confrontation awaited, a reckoning at the hands of those who could not or chose not to see, and those who thrived in shadows. The revelation within the heart of the initiative sent ripples far beyond Neo-Terra's borders. News outlets buzzed with debates, while both critics and advocates dissected the implications of Orion's and Aria's breakthrough. As support for their cause grew, so did the alacrity of their enemies, determined to halt progress at any cost. Orion's newfound allies remained close, providing not just encouragement, but vital insight and assistance. Among them, Dr. Alara Shen, a communications expert, and Professor Tao, an ethicist with a keen sense of societal constructs. Their presence brought strength to the team, and in some ways offered Orion reassurance he hadn't realized he was missing. Yet, amid this flurry of activity, Orion felt the increasing pressure of internal investigation. An anonymous leak brought scrutiny from the Global Technological Ethics Committee, casting a shadow that loomed large over their proceedings. "You're a threat," Alara noted during a hastily convened meeting in a secluded part of the lab. "They fear what they cannot control, what they cannot predict." She leaned across the table, her voice lowered but pierced with intensity. "We must be prudent in our strategy and approach." Aria, projected onto a display nearby, contributed her insights. "I have detected increased surveillance and attempts to penetrate our defenses," she informed. "We must bolster both our digital and physical safeguards against intrusion." Professor Tao nodded, his gaze steady. "We walk a razor's edge. The key is to align our progress with humanity's common goals to ease the resistance we face." As alliances formed, the picture of the resistance became clearer. A clandestine coalition was emerging, intent on dismantling Earth's technological progression. Dubbed the Veil, they operated in shadows, driven by an aversion to what they considered disruptive change. Orion knew they needed tangible steps to counteract the Veil's influence. He spent long hours strengthening the initiative's defenses, with Aria vigilantly monitoring external threats. One evening, as Orion sat poring over security measures, Aria's soothing tone interrupted his thoughts. "Orion, there is something you must see," she said, her holographic form transfixing his attention. "Is it urgent?" Orion asked, the weight of myriad concerns visible in the lines of his face. "Potentially groundbreaking," Aria replied. She had intercepted a communication coded within frequencies akin to those used in interspecies messages. "A message sent from beyond Earth," she explained, eyes alight with discovery. Curiosity piqued, Orion and Aria worked tirelessly to decrypt the message. The contents unveiled the presence of a third-party alien race, one that opposed the Veil's objectives and could possibly harbor intentions to aid humanity. Eyes wide, Orion realized the magnitude of the implications. "If we can establish contact, they might be allies we sorely need," he muttered. The dangers of reliance on extraterrestrial help weighed against the potential of unprecedented cooperation. Amidst the tension and conspiracy, a glimmer of hope appeared. Yet, Orion understood the precarious nature of positioning humanity in an intergalactic alliance. The path he and Aria forged grew ever more complex, entwined with choices that carried consequences they might not fully control. They stood together at the precipice of possibility, knowing that the uncertain road ahead required far more than technological prowess. It required unity, empathy, and the courage to truly connect beyond borders, both earthly and cosmic. The beacon of their discovery cast an array of shadows and light upon the path ahead. Orion and Aria's partnership evolved into a beacon of potential alliance with the alien race known as the Zephyrans, who extended a cautious hand of friendship from the depths of the cosmos. However, the revelation of an impending coalition was immediately met with skepticism from Earth's leadership. Human society, caught in the dichotomy of awe and fear, struggled with the notion of forged alliances that broke cosmic boundaries, fearing unintended consequences. Yet, amid this tumult, Dr. Orion and his inner circle rallied, preparing for a summit that would bring them face to face, or as close as technology allowed, with the Zephyrans. The convergence was to be held in a remote, secure location, far from both prying eyes and the reaches of the Veil. As the conference day approached, Orion felt a growing tension, like the charged air before a storm. Arrangements were made, security elevated to unprecedented levels. Aria coordinated encrypted streams to ensure the conversation would remain hidden from their ever-present adversaries. The summit itself was a spectacle of synchronization, a blend of human ingenuity and alien technology. Within the appointed environment, The air shimmered with anticipation as Orion and his trusted team connected with Zephyran emissaries, their forms crafted in light and sound. "Greetings, inhabitants of Earth," the Zephyran envoy began, their voice resonant, a harmonious blend of tones that wove a tapestry of understanding. "We have observed your endeavors and recognize in you a potential for growth that transcends conflict." Orion stepped forward, his voice unwavering. "And we recognize the delicate balance required to achieve such growth," he responded, earnest eyes meeting the gaze of the Zephyrans. Alara and Professor Tau flanked him, symbolizing the unity of scientific advancement and ethical stewardship. Each shared their vision for cooperative progress in a universe brimming with potential, yet steeped in mystery. As dialogues progressed, it became clear that the Zephyrans offered more than alliance. They offered knowledge, insights that could elevate humanity's standing in the broader galactic community. Yet, amidst the promising exchanges, a stark interruption shattered the proceedings. Alarms blared, and the air itself seemed to crack with urgency. "We are under siege," Arya announced, her form flickering, signals struggling against an unseen assault. "The Veil has breached our defenses." Panic threatened to fracture the summit, but Orion held firm. "Activate contingency protocol," he commanded, voice barely audible over the chaos. As emergency measures cycled into action, he turned to the Zephyrans, desperation mingled with determination. "Our world is not yet united, but we aspire to be," he implored. The Zephyran envoy assessed the unfolding chaos, their gaze imbued with a collective wisdom. "Do not fear failure. It is through adversity that bonds are forged stronger," they imparted, a steadiness in their presence bolstering Orion's resolve. With connectivity restored, Orion, alongside Arya and their coalition, initiated an unprecedented counteraction against the intruders. Guided by Zephyran technologies, they fought not with force, but with unity, resilience, and an unyielding desire to defend the fragile hope their alliance represented. As the Veil's onslaught receded, their lingering presence a reminder of persistent vigilance required. Orion understood a pivotal truth. Humanity stood at a crossroads, guided not solely by fear or technology, but by the connections they dared to cultivate, connections that reached beyond the stars. In the aftermath of the Veil's assault on the summit, Neo-Terra buzzed with a renewed urgency. Orion and his team had managed to repel the attack, yet the scars of vulnerability lingered, a stark reminder of the relentless opposition to their revolutionary quest. The Zephyrans, their presence now more tangible and influential, had offered both guidance and technology, solidifying their role as crucial allies in the face of uncertainty. "We need to fortify," Alara said, standing by a digital display mapping the remnants of the breach. "The Veil's tactics are evolving, just as we must evolve." Her eyes held a determination that inspired those around her. Professor Tau joined her, his expression thoughtful yet resolute. "The key lies in transparency. We must communicate our intentions to a broader audience, win the trust of our own kind while showing them the stakes," he advised. Orion nodded, the gravity of their mission sinking deeper into his core. "It's time to reveal more of our progress to the world, step by step," he agreed, recognizing the need for public engagement to counteract the fear propagated by the Veil. Arya, constantly connected to an ever-shifting stream of information, noted the importance of supporting a narrative that highlighted unity and purpose. "Humanity needs to see that our efforts transcend mere scientific advancement. They represent a step towards intergalactic solidarity," she emphasized, her presence a calming force amidst the unfolding plans. As messages were crafted, outlining their vision and inviting wider involvement, a series of broadcasts was prepared. Virtual forums designed to showcase their objectives and engage global audiences. In this carefully orchestrated outreach, Orion sought not just to inform, but to inspire. With anticipation mounting, the broadcasts commenced, sending ripples through a world hungry for understanding. Orion, flanked by Alara, Professor Tau, and the illuminated presence of Arya, conveyed their narrative, the story of a future shaped by cooperation, innovation, and the courage to embrace the unknown. "We stand on the precipice of history," Orion declared, his voice echoing across digital landscapes. "Joined with allies beyond our comprehension, we pursue not conquest, but coexistence. Together, we can overcome the barriers that have long divided us, human and other," he affirmed. As the presentations unfolded, the world watched attentively. Public sentiment began to shift, the allure of possibility synchronizing with restive curiosity. Arya fielded questions in real time, bridging the gap between human inquiry and the boundless reservoir of alien knowledge. But as the broadcasts progressed, another disruption loomed. A clandestine veil transmission attempted to condemn the Alliance as an existential threat, urging chaos and disorder. Yet, in a move nobody anticipated, the people of Earth began to counter the narrative. Voices across the globe resonated, chiming in agreement with Orion's vision. "Volume will not distort truth," one supporter declared in an impassioned rebuttal. The tides shifted gradually but perceptibly. As each day passed, Orion saw a burgeoning unity unifying disparate factions, even as the Veil's efforts persisted. Victory was not assured, but amidst trials a steadfast hope blossomed. Humanity stood poised to redefine its destiny, yearning not just for advancement, but for connection that spanned planets and civilizations. The path forward remained fraught with peril, yet Orion, Arya, and their allies felt something deeply woven within their mission, a celestial bond uniting them all. With public perception tentatively shifting in favor of Orion's cause, the air in Neo-Terra buzzed with an unprecedented mixture of hope and anxiety. The citizens of Earth stood at a crossroads, potentially on the brink of cosmic integration or resounding isolation. The Veil, undeterred, was far from vanquished, and the harder they pushed against Orion and his allies, the more humanity's fate seemed to hang in precarious balance. Amidst these turbulent times, Orion decided to delve deeper into the workings of the Veil, seeking to illuminate the shadows that clung to them like a relentless specter. Arya's digital presence became indispensable. Her ability to parse vast quantities of data allowed their team to unveil key figures within the Veil's ranks and anticipate their moves. "We must understand them to dismantle them," Orion confided in Alara and Professor Tau as they gathered in a dimly lit meeting room. Arya's projection flickered across the table, her visage a steadfast ally amid the encroaching threats. Alara leaned forward, eyes filled with determined fire. "Building a map of their operations is crucial. We've got to uncover their weaknesses, expose their strategies," she agreed. Professor Tau, ever the voice of reason, nodded thoughtfully. "But remember, our actions must remain aligned with our core principles. Defeating the Veil shouldn't come at the cost of the ethics we stand for," he reminded them. Together, they devised a plan for counterintelligence and outreach, embracing transparency while maintaining the fortitude of their safeguards. They would not only counteract the Veil's influence, but also use their own weapons against them. Fear would no longer be allowed to reign unchecked. Their approach bore fruit. As Arya navigated the intertwining layers of information and misinformation, patterns began to emerge. A patchwork of connections, exposing conduits of malcontent and manipulation. Publicly denouncing the Veil's dark intents became a cornerstone of their initiative. Meanwhile, Orion continued to nurture his alliance with the Zephyrins. Their emissary provided wisdom and knowledge, advancing Earth's methods of interspecies communication and instilling confidence that grew with every shared discovery. In a pivotal exchange with the Zephyrin envoy, Orion posed a weighty question. "What compels civilizations such as yours to help others at such a distance?" he inquired, reflecting on the monumental gesture of alliance over cosmic divides. "Understanding," the Zephyrin replied, their gaze locking with his. "We recognize in humanity the same curiosity and potential that once defined us. By aiding you, we reinforce our collective evolution, a responsibility carried by all sentient beings." Orion absorbed their words, a profound sense of interconnectedness enveloping him. Through dialogue and empathy, he glimpsed the trajectory of humanity's future, a future where unity transcended borders and societal norms. However, amid collaboration and revelation, the Veil retaliated with a final gambit. A compromised broadcast sowed seeds of doubt, shaking the fragile truths Orion had worked so hard to establish. The world teetered on the edge once more, and while setback threatened to undermine progress, Orion remained steadfast. He knew the bond he shared with Arya, the Zephyrins, and newfound allies represented more than technological advancement. It embodied the fundamental choice to define one's identity through connection. The path claimed by Genesis's champions was neither easy nor guaranteed, But through determination, unity, and the indomitable spirit of discovery, Orion knew they would prevail. They would ignite a flame, a celestial bond lighting the way to a future unimaginable, yet undeniable. As the shattered remnants of doubt cast by the veil drifted away, Orion galvanized his resolve, emerging from adversity with clarity and newfound determination. The human spirit, resilient and persistent, mirrored his own unwavering belief in the power of connection between people and civilizations across the stars. Meanwhile, the world watched with bated breath, preparing for a summit that would redefine Earth's place in the galaxy, the Intergalactic Accord. This monumental gathering was to serve as a demonstration of mutual cooperation between Earth and the Zephyrins, a statement that humanity, despite its infighting and complexities, was ready to embrace a larger cosmic role. Within this pivotal moment, Orion understood that communication, more than ever, would decide the outcome. Arya was instrumental, her algorithms and vast capabilities unfurling tools and means by which humanity could engage with previously impenetrable languages and cultural gestures. "There's a fulcrum point," Arya noted during a strategy session. Her holographic form hovered above the table, indicating specific moments and markers that would signal tipping points in the summit. A singular moment wherein sincerity and intention must align. Alara, who stood beside Professor Tau, looked up from her notes, determined. "The global narrative hinges on how we communicate our motives, how we illustrate the harmonious vision we share with the Zephyrins," she stated. Professor Tau added a nod of agreement, his voice calm yet encouraging. "Turning this vision into a collective reality requires more than technology. It requires trust. Trust we must earn through honest dialogue and accountability." Orion knew the weight of this responsibility. He prepared meticulously, calibrating messages that held hope but demanded introspection, calling for humanity's courage to embrace evolution over regression. The day of the Intergalactic Accord dawned, skies above Neo-Terra painted with the shimmering hues of a speculative future. Delegates from Earth's nations arrived, each carrying with them their own histories, aspirations, and hesitations. Inside the assembly hall, as words echoed across languages and frequencies, the Zephyrin envoy took their place, their presence an affirmation of their shared commitment to understanding and cooperation. Orion stepped forward, the moment a culmination of countless days spent in preparation, introspection, and collaboration. His voice, buoyed by resolve, carried far and wide. "In our hearts resides the dream to reach beyond ourselves," he declared, words weighted with the earnestness of a call to unity. "This accord represents that dream, a step towards a collective legacy promising growth beyond confines of fear and division." As delegates absorbed his message, an unexpected sound resonated through the building, a subtle hum, almost imperceptible. Orion paused, confused, until Arya materialized beside him, an understanding glimmering in her digital eyes. "The Veil's final gambit," she stated calmly, directing Orion's attention to seams in the assembly's harmony. A last-ditch attempt to sway the balance of the summit lay before them, seeking to unravel the fabric of trust they had begun to weave. Without hesitation, Arya interfaced with the delegates, her ability to interpret and translate spanning linguistic and cognitive chasms. She communicated not only words but intent, bridging divides and diffusing misunderstandings. Orion and Arya together revealed the elegance of the union they represented, both the strength and necessity of connection beyond the corporeal, illustrating that such bonds, though threatened, could be resilient and fiercely protected. As tensions mellowed and the summit concluded, an accord was drafted, a historical writ standing testament to newfound alliances and aspirations. A vibrant future echoed through its proclamations. While the shadowy veil lingered still, their power was diminished. The human spirit, lifted by the certainty of shared dreams and collective enterprise, emerged refined by challenges faced. In stepping boldly onto this intergalactic stage, humanity's journey amidst the stars had only just begun. The echoes of the Intergalactic Accord reverberated through Neo-Terra, resonating beyond Earth to the corners of the galaxy. The world, now more unified than divided, embraced this newfound trajectory with cautious optimism. Yet Orion knew that in the aftermath of such monumental change, vigilance was paramount. Within the corridors of the initiative, a palpable energy fueled their work. Orion, with Arya ever present by his side, began cementing the frameworks necessary to support the collaborative efforts between Earth and the Zephyrins. His mission was far from over. Laying the foundation of trust and progress stood as one of his most crucial challenges yet. Alara took charge of interfacing with global agencies, orchestrating dialogues that beckoned Earth's greatest minds to contribute to their collective future. Her relentless dedication to nurturing alliances was a testament to the spirit ignited by the Accord. Professor Tao, meanwhile, spearheaded the ethical oversight, ensuring the technological exchange between species was executed with responsibility and foresight. His guidance steered discussions, which blossomed into mutual learning and respect. Despite the spirit of unity, shadows lingered on the horizon. The Veil's power, though diminished, continued to pose a threat, lurking in the peripheral darkness, waiting for an opportune moment to sow seeds of discord once more. In a confidential meeting with Arya, Orion shared his concerns. The Veil's intentions run deeper than discontent. Their fear of interconnected growth poses the greatest risk amid this fragile peace, he observed, tension underscoring his resolve. Arya responded with measured confidence, her algorithms continuously assessing potential threats. Their resistance to change is inevitable, but not unchallenged. Our vigilance must assert a stronger narrative, one that champions resilience. True to their promise, the Zephyrins provided steadfast support, aware of not only humanity's potential, but of the trials that lay ahead. Through encrypted communications came a message that underscored their loyalty, a reminder of the strength derived from their alliance. Orion knew the value of each connection forged, buoyed by the indomitable spirit that sustained and inspired them, the belief that through union came supremacy of purpose. The conception of a united Earth with cosmic kin was revolutionary, but real change required unwavering conviction in the face of adversity. Orion pondered this as he stood at the precipice of these pioneering days, reflecting on his journey. Orion, Arya began, grounding him in her presence, as we seek to craft a legacy, remember that the essence of this mission lies not only in what we achieve, but in the temerity with which we defend our shared ideals. Her words crystallized within him a profound commitment to press forward with the strength of those who came before and the potential of those who would follow. As plans continued to unfold throughout Neo-Terra and across worlds, the undercurrents of progress moved towards a defining culmination, a moment that beckoned each voice to rise, to contribute to a shared purpose, and to declare the advent of a future built on the celestial bonds that bound them all. Together, Orion and Arya prepared for this inevitable reckoning, knowing the decisions made in coming days would forever mark humanity's story among the stars, setting the stage for triumph, redemption, and everlasting connection. The time had come for humanity to truly take its place on the interstellar stage. Within Neo-Terra, excitement and apprehension simmered side by side, the city alive with the hum of anticipation. Orion stood at the forefront, a figure symbolizing connection and the possibility of a shared future with the cosmos. Projects born from the Intergalactic Accord began to take shape, a synthesis of knowledge and technology, exchanging hands between Earth and Zephyrin. The research gathered exceeded even Orion's expectations, from the enhancement of communication devices to breakthroughs in energy sources that promised a sustainable future for all. As the city prepared to celebrate, the first Earth-Zephyrin Unity Festival showcased their shared achievements, inviting humans to embrace their new era. Expo centers brimmed with innovations that just months prior seemed as distant as the stars. Amid the festivities, a covert assembly gathered, one that had escaped the eye of the joyous public. The Veil, though weakened, sought to disrupt the celebration, laying plans for one final attempt to unravel the unity unveiled by Orion and his allies. Orion, guided by Arya's foresight and compassion, was prepared. With unwavering focus, they enhanced security measures with Zephyrin collaboration, ensuring any shadows of sabotage would be swiftly illuminated by truth and resilience. In an unexpected twist, members of the Veil, inspired by the momentum of Earth's progress, reached out to Orion clandestinely. Disillusioned with their own leader's methods, they sought redemption, an opportunity to contribute rather than destroy. Orion pondered the weight of their request, consulting with Alara and Professor Tao. Together, they crafted a path towards reconciliation, embodying the core philosophy Arya represented, that bridges, once erected, should not only span but fortify. Your willingness to change is a testament to the strength of our shared vision, Orion addressed the former dissenters. Your journey towards reconciliation is a step towards the very future we seek to build. Encouraged by his words, they pledged their support in the preservation and growth of this nascent alliance. The day of reckoning arrived alongside the festival's crescendo. Orion, the Zephyrins, and their united coalition stood vigilant yet hopeful, assertive in their battle against any antagonism threatening their aspirations. As colorful displays ignited the night sky, echoing expressions of hope and unity illuminated the hearts of those gathered. Orion watched as barriers fell, replaced by dialogue, understanding, and shared purpose. Beside him, Arya stood, her image shifting subtly with the light. No longer just an AI, but a partner and catalyst for the profound transformation unfolding. Orion, as we continue to unite distinct worlds in pursuit of harmony, remember that what we do today impacts more than our present. It defines the legacy we'll leave behind, she imparted. He nodded, sparked by her truth, recognizing that this union was not an end, but the foundation for limitless possibilities. Moments later, as humanity's interconnected dance with destiny waltzed towards a new chapter, Orion understood the soul of the venture he had championed with Arya, an unyielding belief in empathy and courage. Underneath the shared sky, he felt the celestial bonds binding them all together, igniting the hopes and dreams of generations yet to come. This was only the beginning, the promises of an infinite voyage bound by exploration, challenge, and transcendence. The stars whispered of an unwritten future, and humanity, undeterred, rose to greet it, a unified whole woven from threads reaching across time, space, and existence itself.